Okay. So, hello, welcome everyone to another By Time session. Today we'll be talking about reconnaissance, big active and passive reconnaissance with Elvis, resource person over here. So, I'll be handing over to him to start the session.
Hello and welcome. I believe I'm very audible.
Yes, yes, you are. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, let me also know if you can see my screen.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, okay. So today's session is on Recon. Um, as we all know it, it's the short form of reconnaissance. Today, we'd like to know some tips and tricks that professionals use when they are performing reconnaissance. I would like us to take a look at what it is, how we do it, and then we will look at a few pointers that will help make our reconnaissance better than we used to. Let me start off by asking those of us on the call what reconnaissance is, or what do you think about reconnaissance?
Okay, so I think reconnaissance is about gathering information.
Okay. Any other person?
I see someone. I think someone in the chat, someone Adekum in the chat says gathering information about a target.
Okay. Great, 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 great.
I can also
Somebody's
see
also saying
questions
OSINT
about the
about
target.
great. That brings me to my next
Target.
question. Is there a difference between OSINT and then Recon?
Yes, yes. So I think with Recon, right? Um, with Recon, you are basically leveraging different means. With OSINT, you need things that are like already open source, like that are already like publicly exposed. But sometimes in Recon, you would actually have to like go into like you actually have to interact with the system. You actually have to go maybe like you'll be in some particular company's network and doing Recon there and all that. So yeah, I think that's
Okay.
the difference. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I can see.
So, um, we welcome all of you who are joining us this evening. I see a few people. Sorry, I see some people here. I see Simon, I see Samuel, I see Phoenix, I see NKK, Femi, Clem, and then OWSEC. Now, this session is going to be more interactive because we want to be able to engage people and be able to give a few pointers. Mind you, there's not one person is not the uh, one person does not have all the knowledge and the skill about cybersecurity. So as I point certain things out, I'd like you to also share your opinion about what you think. So it's going to be interactive. Don't be on the call and stay mute, please. Thank you so much for your understanding. Okay, so if you're just joining us, I am Elvis. I am somebody who is interested in red teaming. Unfortunately for me, my combination in red teaming is more like a red team with a bit of blue teaming in my work because I like to do exploit systems. However, I also like the idea of being able to take apart malware. I really love the idea. Like you're able to take apart malware and examine what it's doing, static analysis, dynamic analysis. I just love it. Even though that's more of a blue teaming, is something I'm really interested in. I also love to. I also love the idea of trying to um, hack physical access controls, like access. Those that have that use access cards. I always been thinking, can we clone these badges and then use them? How do we do physical penetration testing in Ghana? These are things I am more enthused about. Okay, so if you just joined us, we are just asking for ideas on reconnaissance. Any ideas that you have on reconnaissance? Any ideas? I think two people have shared the opinion so far. So Samuel and then Clem, that's what I see here. They've shared their ideas about reconnaissance. Any other person? Okay. So if you've been doing these things that you see on my screen, if you've been doing a bit of what you see on my screen, such as if you're able to go on a target website, let's say you've been asked to hack a target, or in our case, we don't use the word hack, but conduct vulnerability assessment on the target. What you usually do maybe is to visit the website. So if you've ever read the contents of the website, and let me find out from you, where do you usually read or where do you usually check for information about the company? Where are some of the things that you usually check for information about the company? Anybody?
Okay. So I can see in the chat someone says the about section of the website.
Very good. Thank you. The about session. Uh-huh. What else? So usually we look for information on the website. One place that I also check, apart from the about, is the blog session. Is the blog session where they write about what they are currently doing, and in there you will get some names, you will get the projects that they are doing, and other stuff. In addition to that, you also get to know of. If you go to the about you will find the team there, the team the team that the head of IT, the head of this, the head of that. You see the management team, they have their pictures there. From there, you can conduct some OSINT on them. Why OSINT and not reconnaissance? OSINT is about gathering information about usually about people. Is that okay? So, but reconnaissance is about gathering every available information. So, basically, OSINT is a part of reconnaissance. When we say OSINT, OSINT, we are talking about open source intelligence. So, any other information we can find about a human being, you are supposed to gather it. It's a part of reconnaissance. I'm not going to zero in on OSINT. I'm just talking about reconnaissance in general. So, if you have been reading the Target's website, if you've been checking out the About page, the blog post that they've been making about the new features, if you've been interacting with the website one way or the other, or you've been running some tools like, oh, they give you a target, say Kofi.com, and then you begin to run tools. Has anybody conducted a reconnaissance here before, so that I will know how I can approach it? I would like to know the level of the people I'm dealing with here, so that I will know. Um, I believe most of us have conducted reconnaissance before. Should I go with that idea? You can unmute and say yes. You can give a thumbs up. You can also post in the chat. Okay. Okay.
All right. So I don't know if you can. I don't know if you are checking the chat, but Benjamin Kenu says he hasn't. Oh, sorry, he says a little. But then Simon Peters
Okay.
says he hasn't. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you're saying using Nmap to find open ports. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Okay, so when we talk about reconnaissance, it is let me be straightforward here. I would want you to know what reconnaissance is not before I will now get into what reconnaissance is. So we've been doing these things, we've been running tools like somebody mentioned, you've been running Nmap. Um, Sometimes I even confused about the output because when you run Nmap, you see a lot of things, hop and other things in the uh, results. What do these things mean? You're just running the tools for a certain output. Then you've conducted some recon. Now, let me come to what recon isn't. What is not recon before I'll now go straight into what is Recon. Recon or reconnaissance is not about finding vulnerabilities. Reconnaissance is not going to lead, is not always, let me use this word, is not always going to lead you straight to a vulnerability. Reconnaissance is not just about running tools and just calling it a day. I've run my Nmap scan, now I have my results. That is not just reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is not only left for people who are clever, meaning that anybody at all can do it. That you don't have to be the most clever person in the room for you to perform reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is also not one method. It is not one method. That is why whenever you have a target or you have, let me use a bug bounty program. For those of you who don't know bug bounty program, a bug bounty program is, say, a software or a company. Sorry, yes. It's a company that have opened up themselves for their softwares or their platforms to be tested by hackers. That's what we call bug bounty. So they've opened up themselves, test our systems, test our softwares, test our network, and let us know if we have anything to patch. That is bug bounty. Whenever they put their program on a platform, people use different methods. So some will use this way, others will use the other way, another person will use that way, and they would all find different things. So Recon is not just about using one method. The last thing I would like to talk about is that Recon isn't just for offensive teams. Offensive teams, by the word offensive teams, I mean it is not just for red teams, those who are ready to hack. It is also for those who want to protect their systems. There's a saying that if you do not know about an asset, if you don't know about a link, how can you secure it? How can you protect it? Most of the companies that we see, we go to work for, you realize that sometimes the IT person who put the systems in place has left. Another person has come and gone. So over the years, they didn't document certain assets that they have. They didn't document certain software that they were using. They just left it for the next person. And by the time you realize, the person you go to meet there doesn't even know a particular subdomain even existed, or a particular URL or website. The person didn't even know it existed. So even blue teamers, those who are interested in safeguarding their network and their softwares, must know how to conduct recon. Now, let me quickly take you to what is recon. Now that we know what is not recon, let's know what is recon. Okay. If you take a look at the object on my right-hand side, you would see an iceberg with a small portion of the iceberg showing and a chunk of it submerged under the water. When you look at this iceberg, it tells us the reality of the people that we work with. Usually, when they ask you to, let me use the word hack, but in our case, we usually use the word VAPT. When you have been asked to conduct a VAPT on a client, or you've been asked to conduct red team assessment on a client, in order not to be using these words, I just want to use the word hack. Now, if you've been asked to hack a client, usually all they will tell you is the name of the client. So you get the name of the client. Who am I supposed to conduct VAPT on? Then they just give you the name. When you get the name, now you have to do a lot of search about the company. Usually, the first place we check is the website. Then we look at other things. Whatever we are doing or whatever information we are checking for is to help us understand more about the client. The more you know, about the client, the better you can hurt the client. Let's say in even human terms, those that can destroy your life are those that are closer to you and know more about you. So if you have been given an assessment, it is not about trying to just throw tools at the client or at the target company. You cannot just be throwing tools at them. One thing to do is to read, read, read about the client. Gather as much information about the client as possible. And this must be a structured method, not just throwing tools to it, or not just doing it like you just do, you get your results, and then you just don't even understand what the tool is giving you. So Recon is something that we do to expand the attack surface for a web application like this. When you check the web application and you are doing your Recon, you may be able to find the framework used to build the web application or the website. You'll be able to find the APIs. You'll be able to find the infrastructure, the particular server that is running. So maybe the person is using Nginx, the person is using IIS, the person is using what infrastructure is supporting the application. All these are submerged under the ocean, and you have to dig deeper and deeper and deeper to find it. Sometimes you have to look at companies that they have acquired. So, for example, if you are working on a client like Tesla, then you have to look at clients that the company have acquired. So, last year, Tesla bought this company and that. Why is it useful? Because the more you know about the company, the better it is for you. Let's say that Tesla's systems are more secure, but the company they acquired, their systems might not have been as secure as Tesla. And because they just acquired them, they've not put in place any measures to secure the system, and they've connected them to the main Tesla system. So you can use that third-party connection from the newly acquired company to now go into Tesla's system as a normal traffic. You can go in as normal traffic without being detected. Okay, so this is my idea about Recon. Now let's go on. Why does it matter? For every real world attack that you may do, for every VAPT you will do, or for every hacking engagement you will do, Recon forms about 60 to 70% of what you will do. Because you have to discover before you can now hack. If you've not discovered, you can hack. And even when you discover and you hack, you have to perform another reconnaissance to know what to target in order to escalate from being a normal user to being an administrator of the system. So Recon is always part of what we are doing as hackers or as ethical hackers. Let me use that word, ethical hackers. That means people who are hacking with permission. Now, if you do exploitation or you do hacking without taking your time to really understand the client, you are just guessing. You're just doing a guesswork. You're just doing a guesswork. Let me try this. Will it work? Let me try this. Will it work? For example, if I don't know the underlying infrastructure for a client, I will not be able to brute force or conduct phasing with the right word list. Maybe I'll have to give you a typical example so that we all see it. For now, let's just listen. Maybe I'll have to do practical examples for you to see. So when it comes to reconnaissance, usually, those days where we used to play a little CTF, I was playing easy machines. Please don't blame me. I was just trying to learn my skill. So I was playing easy and medium machines. I never got to play a hard machine. Don't blame me. Those days, I remember uh, there was this challenge and uh, Christmas. It's on Try Hack Me. It's like 30 days of hacking on Try Hack Me also. And I started the first 2 days and I was not finding anything. Went on a channel and was asking. And the only answer I got was Recon is also part of hacking. What does it mean? It means that I am not digging deep about my target. If you've not found it, how can the person even tell you the answer? So it's like you are reading, you are in an exam hall. Yes, advent of cyber, thank you. Advent of cyber, thank you. It's like you are in an exam hall and then the question you can't even read it. How will you even know the answer to the question? So recon is about trying to gather as much information about the client as possible. And it is required, so it should not be seen as laborious. It is required. And this is where most breaches actually start from. Now, for some of us who are doing recon, we've been throwing a lot of tools to our clients or to our targets. And so we make a lot of noise. When I say a lot of noise, it means that the client can easily detect that these systems are trying to scan my network. However, for professionals, you should be looking at a quiet, layered, and contextual approach to recon. So you are coming in quietly, you are learning about the client quietly. It is layered, as in you're moving from one stage to another, you're moving from one stage to another. You're not just doing everything together. Then it is contextual. It has a context to it. It has a motive. You are targeting something in particular. So, for example, I may be targeting um, old links. If it's APIs, I am interested in. I may be targeting old APIs. Say they are having version 3 now or version 2 now. I'll be targeting version 1. And how will I target this version 1? Most of us know about the Wayback URL. Is that it? Are you aware of Wayback URL? You can give me a thumbs up or something, an emoji. To yes. So if I find a link, all I have to do is just pick it, go to Wayback URL, and see if the version 1 existed. Something like that. Or sometimes if I'm using Postman, I'll just change the version 2 to version 1 and see if that link existed. And if it existed, have they successfully decommissioned that version 1? If I'm able to connect, then I'm happy. I'm the happiest guy on earth. So it is contextual, as in you have a particular goal in mind. You're not just going after different things at the same time. No, you are testing, you are gathering information in a very contextual way. Okay. So what should we expect from Recon? Can somebody help me? After you are done with Recon, what is the output? What do you get from Recon? Can somebody help me? What should you expect from a Recon? After you've performed all the Recon, what should you expect? Okay. So after you've performed Recon, what you get or the output is just more information. No bugs. You won't find any vulnerabilities. Or you find even if you find vulnerabilities, just a few. But you get more information. More. The outcome of every recon exercise is so that you get more information. So you'll be scouring every place to get this information. Okay. Now I want to move on from there to the types or what I term as phases of recon. Um, in normal sense, we have two types of recon. Thank you so much, Hunter. Thank you so much. Enough information about the target for your VAPT report. Thank you. In normal sense, we have two types, the passive recon and the active recon. But when you come to how you are performing it, you either do it manually or you use tools to automate what you're doing. Please, do we understand? So we have passive, meaning you are not really having any interaction with the client. And then we have active, where you are interacting directly with the client, sometimes limitedly. But to perform this active and passive, you may either do it manually or go for automated tools, tools that will do it for you. So, for example, we have a tool that was created by Nahamsek, one of the good guys on the internet. He created this tool called Lazy Recon, or OWASP created this tool called AMASS, AMASS. These are tools that automate recon. However, you can decide that you will go manually and look for the information, because some of the automated tools have their own limitations. Some have limits. Maybe they only provide you 500 results per request, or some cannot even really get you what you want. So you have to go in and fetch it for yourself. So these are some of the things about recon. Now I'd like to talk about passive reconnaissance, the silent phase. So during passive reconnaissance, what information can you gather? You should be looking at going to third-party websites to gather domains, subdomains, DNS records, certificates, and I'm going to take my time to show you some of the tools I personally use. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I personally use. Please, can you mute? Thank you. So in the silent phase, you can look at the DNS records, the certificates, the GitHub commits. You can look at the whois history. You can look at the tech stack. You can look at the IP range. You can look at the ASN number, and then the domain and the subdomains. The domains that the company own. Okay. Even we look at the people, the third-party vendors and all that. Okay. Another part of this silent phase also involves looking at the tech stack inference on LinkedIn. So let's say that the company has a profile on LinkedIn and they will say, we are looking for somebody with these qualities to be our database administrator. The person must know Postgres, Postgres SQL. The person must know particular things. It gives you a hint about what system they are using. Okay, so the person must know about IBM Guardium. The person is going to be maybe a VAPT expert. He must know about IBM Guardium. He must know about maybe other tools. They will mention other tools. It tells you what tools they're actually using in their system. And from there, you can infer, you can think about it and know that, okay, if these are if this is the qualities of a person they want, that means this is what they have in their environment. You can also look at the cloud environment and look for misconfigurations, the cloud environment, and look for misconfigurations. And some of these things you can do it without actually touching the client. So you can look at the general patterns in naming S3 buckets, the general patterns in naming S3 buckets. You can look at the public buckets that are available. There are tools that will give you public buckets that are available. People did not configure their cloud infrastructure very well. And so sometimes the buckets they are using, or the storage, when I say bucket, I mean storage, the storage they are using is public. That means whatever information they are storing, people can see it. You can also find some information about their secure code development practices or their code infrastructure online. So if they are using, say, SonarQube, or if they are using Vera Code, or they are using Azure and those things, and they misconfigure it and make these things, sorry, they are using Git or GitHub, sorry, they're using Git or GitHub to do development, or they are storing their code there and they've misconfigured it and made it public. Yes, you can quickly do some recon and get this information. From the silent phase, now we must touch the client, or we must touch our target. That's where we go to the active reconnaissance. So for the active reconnaissance phase, now we want to have a contact with our client. So we visit the website. When we visit the website, we must look out for certain things about the website. And not just their main website, because usually one thing I've found in my practice is that usually the main website is very secure. The main website is very secure. Usually where I usually find some misconfiguration will be with the other subdomains that form part of the website. So when you go there, you must be looking at the content management system they are using. You must be looking at the TLS fingerprint. It is going to help you to be able to find other subdomains that the client owns. You should be looking at the web servers. You should be looking at the frameworks. You should be looking at the WAF, the web application firewall they are using, because maybe the website or the web application you're going to attack has SQL injection. But if you don't know the web application firewall that is protecting it, when you query that SQL injection, the web application firewall will block it. The WAF will block it. Now you have to go and learn about, or you have to now go and find the web application firewall that's blocking it in order to search about how to bypass that particular web application firewall. When you just do a normal search, you say, okay, the person is using, can somebody give me an example? So that I don't mention the example in my head. This is for a client that I work for. So don't do. So let's use this one, SUCURI. That one. Yes, let me use that one for example, because I see it on many websites. If that's the WAF that the client is using, you just quickly put it in Google and say SUCURI WAF bypass techniques, and surely you'll get people helping you with it. Okay, I see somebody answer something in the chat. Imperva, okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, thank you so much. We can also look at the robot.txt and the sitemap.xml to have a fair idea. Usually, sitemap.xml usually helps when you're doing reconnaissance on targets that use WordPress applications. It's usually useful in the it's very good in the sitemap. And then we can also look at other things too. Another part of the contact phase is also here. We can scan for the known IP ranges, like somebody mentioned earlier that he or she has been using Nmap to scan for open ports and all that. There's another scanning tool available that's really cool. You can check it out. I'm going to be sharing some of the tools I use with you, so that if you've not seen some of these tools before, then you can look at them later on. It's called NABU, NAABU, from Project Discovery. Project Discovery is one of the few places where I usually use their tools. They are great. Their tools are really great. Their tools are really great. Project Discovery, you can get it on GitHub. You should also look at exposed services. So I check the header when I'm interacting with um, the web application. I check the header, see if, okay, you're using Nginx, which version is it being displayed? So sometimes you just see Nginx 1.2 point something. Then you realize that, okay, this 1.2 point something, let me check and see if it has vulnerabilities. Okay, I'll do that. Let me see if it has vulnerabilities. Then you go ahead. So by knowing the version that they are using, you're able to do that. Okay. I'll talk about the last point, which is avoiding default full range scans, which is, for example, you want to conduct an Nmap scan on a client or on a target. Usually, the stealth way of scanning are many, but the usual one we use is the SYN scan, SYN scan, where you just ping and the client machine responds with an acknowledge, then quickly the connection is cut off. You know that okay, this machine is likely to be alive. So usually they just send SYN scans in order not to complete the three handshake to do that. So you can do that here as part of your active reconnaissance. Whilst doing that, I've kept in this slide using timing controls. Usually, the clients we work with, they are people that if you put too much load on their network, you cause a lot of damage. Some of them are banking clients, some of them are high value target clients that if their network goes down right now, in fact, you are going to be in trouble. So whilst scanning, you must make sure that you are scanning at rates that do not interfere with their normal operation. You should also make sure that you have put it at timings that would permit. Let me give you. Okay, that one won't even be recon, but usually make sure you are just doing it right and the timings are set right. So if you time it, say after every 1 second, if you want to retry it after every 1 second or retry it after every 3 seconds, that's a good way to limit the activity you are doing when it is active reconnaissance. Any questions before okay, let me go on. Reconnaissance mindset. Okay, so in here, I want us to look at how to have a different set of mindset towards reconnaissance. The first one I would like to say is that curiosity always beats tools. Curiosity, wanting to know, always beats tools. I've listened to several people who are in our world of work into cybersecurity, and most of them will even tell you they will prefer to go manual than to go automated. If you know about this guy, Tom Nom Nom, Tom Nom Nom, they call him the grep guy, GREP, grep. He's always doing grepping. He's always grepping for information in text files, TXT files. He's always doing manual stuff. Tom Nom Nom. He created a tool. Who can remind me? There's this popular tool that he created. Uh, I'm trying to recall. When I recollect out, he's one of the best people, and he will tell you he will go manual. There was another hacker who also mentioned a tool. I'm going to mention it here, and I'm going to show you how to use it manually. And you will love it manually than doing it automated. So I'm going to do all these things. I hope the time permits. Yes, the time will permit us. Okay. So when you're doing it, just go in with a curious mindset. Don't just don't just pick tools and be throwing them around your target. No, go in. You want to know more. What is this? What is this? You see this name. What is this name? You see this. What does it even mean? Go in there with a curious mindset. Now you ask yourself questions, and not just any questions, better questions. What exists? What is there currently? What changed? What has been forgotten? So, what exists now? So, let's say I'm visiting a web application. Then they say 403, meaning that um I'm forbidden to open such a site. When I will just pick the same URL and put it in way back URL, and then I'll try and see if before it became 403, before they put that restriction on it to make it 403, to make it forbidden for people to visit it, was it a 200? So you are trying to find out what existed before, what exists now, and then have they forgotten about any other thing? That's why Web Archive is a great tool for hackers. Web Archive is a great tool for hackers. Okay. Now, apart from that, automation supports your thinking and it never replaces your thinking. The same way AI supports our work and never replaces our work. Hackers will tell you that no matter how good that the AI is now, I'm not talking about future, it is never able to fully start from reconnaissance to the end to privilege escalation without any human help. It can't do that. The human being has to guide it. The human being has to think for it. The human being has to, at a certain point, suggest to it what it should do. So the same way automation, the tools, they will never replace your thinking. So for example, I use this tool called GAU, get all URL, GAU, GAU. And what do I need from it? I use it to gather URLs. When I gather it, then I use Katana to see the ones that are 200. Gather all URLs is used to gather old URL and new URL, what existed and what exists now. So now that I have it, I'll use Katana to now see which ones are 200. Then I'll use HTTPS to now find out which ones are providing me things that I'll really be interested in. So that like the title and other things about the website I'm actually looking at. So automation supports the way I think. So okay, let's say that there's a 200 website or a link that is old but it's 200. Quickly, I don't have to test it one by one. I have tools that will help me to do it, but they are following my thinking. They will not do it for me. The tools won't just do it for me, and I have to understand what I'm doing. Common mistakes: tool dumping with analysis, scanning everything. You're just scanning and you don't do anything. You stop at the surface level findings, and then the last one is using same word list over time. That means that you are conducting vulnerability analysis, and the same word list you used 2 years ago is still being used today. It won't work. I've realized that most of the word list, I don't know if anybody can concur with me on this. Most of the clients I've worked for, the naming conventions for their URLs is very different. So it becomes very difficult to brute force and find the subdomains. Like say you throw a list like rock you as a username in Ghana here. Usually people's passwords are their phone numbers. Usually people's passwords in Ghana here, the common people, I'm not talking about, they are their passwords. You barely will you throw rock you as a password to the clients I see here in Ghana and it works. No, it barely works. And it's so the word list that we have here, mostly, you have to refine it because when you are parsing for endpoints, you see that it's not really picking up any endpoints. You can do a full go buster and it didn't pick any endpoint because maybe DS is a bit complex. So let's look at that. Let's look at our word list and avoid some of these common mistakes. I think I would leave the rest for questions. Um, I'll leave the rest for questions, but I'm going to show you some of the tools. I'm going to show you some of the tools. If you have any questions, just let me know. Uh, Recon is something that is so extensive. So if you want to do or want to find out more about Recon, there are resources or there are people that personally I like to always listen to. There are people that always like to listen to or like to learn from them. One of them is Nahamsek. Nahamsek, very great guy in Recon. We also have we have other people too, like Jason Haddix. Jason Haddix is also great. He's a great guy in cybersecurity. He's also very good in Recon. Any questions as I try to show you some of the tools? You can, I won't show you them in action because I mean, I don't want to, unless it's your website, you can give it to me. I'll just show you right now. But I'm going to show you where you can find this tool and how you can search for this tool. Any questions before I do that? Okay.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the
Yes,
presentation. Please, I'd like to know, some people say, let's say, maybe plenty subdomains expand the attack's surface. So I want to know
yes.
from you how.
You want to understand what they mean by that?
No, yeah, why are they saying that most, if the subdomains are many, it expands the attack surface?
Okay. So let's say that they have, I'm just using this as a scenario. Let's say that you have 5 IT personnel and they have to cater for about 2,000 computers. 2,000, it becomes difficult for them to do that. The same way, if the IT team for a company is like 10 and they have about 30 subdomains or 50 subdomains, it becomes difficult for them to manage, as in configure them very well. So you realize that for some of them, they will make simple mistakes. A simple mistake could even include using default credentials. Okay, we have cameras, but the cameras that we have will use default credentials because we cannot remember all the passwords. Is that okay? So what then happens? It means that they would just be using, like they will be making the system more insecure. That's why they are saying that um, the larger the surface, sorry, the more the subdomain, the larger the surface area. It gives you more room for people to make mistakes. And the more people make mistakes, the better it is for you because, I mean, it means you are getting more money. You're getting more money. You go and hack them, you're happy about your work, and then you get more money. Okay. Okay. Please, you have to suggest a vulnerable website for me. So let me go straight to the tools. I saw Augustus' hand up. Is your question answered?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So let me show you the tools. So one of the tools is or the one that I usually use is project discovery, project discovery tools. But if you do this search, it will take you to their website. So this is where you can get the actual tool to use. Say PDTM, then you add GitHub. PDTM. So this link, project discovery, it's a good place to get OSINT to Recon tools. It just goes beyond OSINT. These are Recon tools. So this is a PDTM. So these are the tools I was mentioning. Subfinder is used for subdomain enumeration. We have DNSX to check whether the subdomain is alive. So I just use these tools. You can use Subfinder to find all subdomains. It will check from different sources. And mind you, I forgot to say this. When you pick these tools, don't just use them like the default. Don't just go the default way. Some of them require APIs. This is how to install it. Some of them require APIs. So make sure you have the APIs downloaded and inserted into them. So for example, if this tool requires API from Shodan, make sure you obtain an API from Shodan and insert it. That makes your tool better at finding vulnerabilities than the normal person. So for example, DNSX will also check if um, the particular subdomain is alive. Some of the subdomains that you will get, some of them are old subdomains that have expired. They are not being used again. So the DNSX will check. Then from there, you can use NABU, NAABU, to scan for open port like Nmap. Then you use HTTPX to take more like I want to say screenshot. It gives you, you can use it to just check the heading. Okay, so I have like 500 URLs. Now the 500 URLs, I cannot click on every one of them and check how it is, whether I'll get a 200, I'll get a 400 or 500. So rather than just doing that, I'll just pass it to HTTPX, and then the HTTPS will help me to get whether it is 400, whether it is 200, whether it is 500. Then from there, I'll now filter it and target the 400s and sometimes the 500s. Usually the 200s, you might not find anything. Then from the HTTPS, there's Nuclei. Nuclei, for most of the people that use it, they don't really recommend, but you can try it in your environment. Nuclei is a vulnerability assessment software. That means that it checks if your softwares are vulnerable, like to any CV, any vulnerability in the system. Maybe this version is outdated and it's having problem with this and that. Nuclei will do that for you. Then yes, I also use Shuffle DNS, and I use Katana. So let's say that I have the subdomain. I have the subdomain like, okay, so my main URL or my main domain is coffee.com. Then I have a subdomain like ama.coffee.com. Let's quickly, please suggest any, let me, did anybody suggest a software? Okay, oh, WebGoat. WebGoat won't help here. WebGoat won't help here. The tools I'm mentioning, WebGoat won't help. So let me pick one of the programs from, sorry, let me pick one of the bug bounty programs. It's time? Okay, give me a few minutes. Okay. But please, if you don't ask questions, I'll be very, very sad. Grafana, okay. Okay. So let's say that my target is Grafana. Okay. So if it's Grafana, there are many ways I'll do my OSINT. Let me go for Google. Sorry, or Recon. So if it's Grafana, one thing I can do, which most of you know, is maybe star dot. I don't know whether it's a .com or a dot something, so I'll do star. Where are you? Okay. One thing I learned from one of the hackers is to add this, the less than and the greater than symbol. Okay. So it's a .com. We have a .org. So we have a .org. We have a .com. So we have a .net. So you see that by just doing this, I found some subdomains. But these tools, the one I have mentioned here, please, did you see it? Did you see that particular thing I did? The docking that I did. Hello, did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the tools here, the Subfinder, this first tool, Subfinder, will do the same thing for you. Will do the same thing for you. Okay. So another tool recently I came to find and I'm loving it is, so please, you can type this in the chat for them, PDTM. Okay, what does it do? Okay, so according to that particular hacker, it gives you more results than without placing it there. And I realized it was true. When I tested it on a client website, I realized it was true. It gave me, without this one, it gave me fewer results. But when I added the less than and the greater than, it gave me more results That's basically what I learned from the person. So this is one thing about Google Docking. So let's say that I have status.grafana.com. Let's say this particular subdomain, status, maybe there's another subdomain under this. So maybe status, coffee.status.grafana.com. So in that case, you add another star here with a dot like this. If there is, it will pop up. And some of these tools, like the Subfinder, is very good at finding it, at finding some of these things. Subfinder is a very good tool. Another tool I've come to love. I don't know. Can I move away from this so that we can? Okay. Okay, I apply it now from for every Google Docking I do. Now I always apply it to every Google Docking that I do. Let me move away from this Google Docking. Now check out this tool also on Reconnaissance. It's called Arson Framework. It's on GitHub. It's a great tool. If you're a beginner in Reconnaissance, I recommend this framework for you. Why is it so? Because it gives you the ability to learn whilst doing the reconnaissance. It gives you the ability to learn whilst doing the reconnaissance. So Arson framework, this one, it's really a great tool. Okay, there's it. There's how to install it. And when you are done, Charlie, I think my version runs on Docker, so I have to open it in my browser. I use a Docker version, so I open it in my browser. Charlie, it's really great. It's really, really great. I just wanted to share this with the community so that people who have not found it yet would come to understand it. So they don't just give you the tools. So they just give you, okay, they won't just say, click here to perform Google Docking. No, they would show you why you should perform Google Docking. Every tool you're using, what this tool is doing, and why you must use it. When can you use it? When will you not use it? How many minutes do I have? Let me see if I can. Is it up? Oh. Any questions before? Any questions? I'm trying to see if I have this one pin paro.
I want to find out, as let's say a beginner, is it good to always follow the automated tools or the manual scanning so that you get the more deeper understanding of the process?
Okay, so let me do this. So check this too. So I mentioned the Arson framework. Once you gave me this question, I want to show you something. There's this tool called Way More. It's automated. Most of you might have Way More. Now let me go to Way More and show you something about Way More. Rather than using Way More in an automated way, it's better you use Way More. It's better you use this manually. How do you use it manually? This is an automated tool, a very great tool. I mean, you should check it out. If you don't know about Way More, check it out. So when you open the GitHub version of Way More, go into the folder called Way More. Go into it. In the code, go for the waymore.py, this one. Go for it. Then now, so look at this. Rather than going automated, just pick this. So if I want to use this tool, rather than going automated, I just copy this. I'll just copy this one and now go and paste it in my browser and use it manually. So I'll paste it. This is telling me to put my URL here. So I'll just put the URL of the client there, and then you can delete this collab, delete it. You can delete this collab. So put your URL here and just press enter. It will give you so much information than the tool itself. Why am I saying that? This is because, let me go back to the Waymo. For example, look at this one, the URL scan, this one. Even look at this, the alien vault. The limit on the automated tool is 500. The limit is here, 500. But when I use it manually, I just change the limit from 500 to maybe 1,000 or 10,000. Because they put limits in the automated. This is the automated version. This one, the URL scan is having at least the size should be 10,000. But in this case, for example, the alien vault is only giving you 500 requests in the first request. But I just want to get way more than that. So I'll just copy manually rather than going for, I'll just copy, put it in my URL, and then change this one. So this type here should be domain. The type here, you change it to domain. Then you put the domain of the person here or of the target here. It gives you more results. So you change the limit from 5,000 to maybe like this. It gives you way more than what you would have gotten from the automated tool. That's one thing I like about manual. Also, nothing automated can ever beat manual. I mentioned that PDTM, the project discovery tools, many people who use it manually, they will tell you that nuclei is not good to be used manually. They'll tell you nuclei is not good to be used manually. So make sure nuclei is not good to be used automated in an automated way. It's better because everybody doing a scan using nuclei, you won't find anything. You only find duplicates, what people have already found and reported. So you will find only duplicates. Make sure you go more manual, but it takes time. Don't be in a hurry. Penetration testing takes time. It really takes time. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining our session today. I hope you learned a lot. If there are no questions, I will step down for the moderators to take over. Thank you so much.
And you say this one is just a quick one. I joined late, so I wanted to know your background. Are you a web developer or from a system networking area?
Okay, my background is web applications, so that's why I barely talk about networks. I'm from web applications perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Elvis, thank you very much for the session. We really appreciate you taking your time to explain things to us to understand from both manual Recon perspective and automated Recon perspective. Does anybody else have any extra questions for Elvis today? If you have any questions and he's the right person to answer, the right knowledge, I'm pretty sure he'll be glad to send those information out. And just a quick one, Elvis is one of the people that is trying to help us build a community, bring people from different angles around maybe Ghana for now, schools, maybe people coming out of uni freshly and learning stuff. Yeah, we know sometimes we all get missing or lost when we want to start a journey in security. So Elvis has a vision of building a community where we can all come together, have a community where we could learn, ask questions, then we don't feel like we are dumb or feeling stupid in asking people some questions that you may think, but someone and maybe professional enough to like, oh, why are you asking this question? You should know this. No, it's trying to build a community where we are going to feel free to ask all those questions and find and make good progress in our career as cybersecurity professionals or experts or analysts or whoever you want to be in cybersecurity domain. So thank you very much once again, Elvis. Does anybody else have any question for Elvis
Thank
today?
you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Elvis. Please, will you mind? I get your contact personally for a discussion.
Yes, you can get my contact from Benis, or I can also share with you. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can check my name up on LinkedIn, Elvis Anani on LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any more questions directed to Elvis? Okay, Simon, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Mine is not a question though, just a comment I wanted to make.
All right, sure, go ahead.
So, all right. So I'm not into cybersecurity. I'm into software development, but I think security is very much important to me. So I was just curious, and then I wanted to just join and learn so that in my building I'll know how to protect the softwares. And to be frank, I've been very much interested, and I've learned a lot, honestly. So I'm very much grateful for the opportunity. And I'll be looking for it for more. Yeah.
That's good then.
So just wanted to
So
let you guys know.
we would like to make a note to everybody on this call today that this is our last session for the year. So I would like to
Okay.
use the opportunity to say Merry Christmas in advance and a Happy New Year. We'll be coming back stronger and better next year, January. When the data is communicated, we will let everybody know. And I would like to know, I want to know if all of you are on our Discord page by time session. If not, I think we'll have to get you guys the link to our Discord session or Discord channel so that you guys can get updated information when we are coming back in January for our next session, freshly back from the festive season. So please, I would like to know, are you all on Discord page? Please, if you're on the Discord page, can you give me a thumbs up or something so that I'll know? If not, I'll have to get you the link. Okay, looks like now if you're on, okay, just a few. Okay, please give me a minute so that I'll get a Discord link. Oxam, please, can you take over the so that I'll get a Discord link for the.
Hello.
Thank you.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. We actually have these sessions almost, I think we have these sessions once every month. Yeah, and it's just basically to share information. Like that's the main aim of by time sessions. Just share information and learn from each other. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the session. So as she was saying, right, we have a Discord community where you can come and hang around like-minded people, right? You can get to ask people questions and then get to network with other people. So she'll drop the link here soon, and then you can join. But before we call it a day, does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask?